This video is introducing the Year 5 division method at Driffield Junior School, and the entire point of this video is to be a bridge between the Year 4 method, where we use counters and place value representation, to the Year 5 method, where we're starting to get a bit more abstract and use numerals. Before we begin, it's worth remembering that a 1 in the tens column for both methods is obviously worth 10, and a 1 represented in the hundreds column is worth 100. So, to begin with, the first step is we must represent the number. Year 4, we've got counters, we've got 3 hundreds, 1 10 and 2 ones, so that represents 312. The Year 5 method, we've got the dividend here, we've got 3 in the hundreds, 1 in the tens, and 2 in the ones, 312. So representing exactly the same number, instead of using concrete manipulatives, this time we are using numerals. So our first step now, we've represented our number, we need to start dividing. So we're looking for how many groups of 3 can we see in the hundreds column. With the Year 4 method, it's easy. We've got one group of 3. So we've got one group of 3 in the hundreds column. In the Year 5 method, it's exactly the same. How many groups of 3 are there? There's one group of 3 inside 300. So we've got one group of 3 in the hundreds. So we have exactly the same answer. We've got a 1 at the top so far. Now, Year 5 method is slightly different. It's called the repeated subtraction method. So in Year 4, we can just get rid of these counters. Now we can brush them off or rub them out. In Year 5, we're going to start a subtraction. So we've got one lot of 300, so we do 312 subtract 300, which means that we have 12 left. Now, that's exactly the same as the Year 4 representation, because here we've got 1 10 and 2 ones. We've still got 12. So both representations have 12. We're now going to look in the tens column, and we're going to see how many groups of 3 can we see in the tens column. Well, how many groups of 3 have we got there? The Year 4 representation shows this really well. We've got no groups of 3 in the tens column. Similarly, we've got no groups of 3 tens here. We've got 1 10. We haven't got a group of 3 tens. We've got no tens. So both of them are recording that we've got no groups of 3 in the tens column. Year 4 and Year 5 now both have to do a bit of renaming. We can't just leave that there. So in the Year 4 method, we crossed that counter out and we renamed it as 10 ones. Now there were already 2 ones there, so that gave us 12 ones in the ones column. The Year 5 method, we've got 1 10 and 2 ones. We're just going to rename it just because it makes more sense from a place value point of view. So instead of saying that we've got 1 10 and 2 ones, we're renaming that to being 12 ones. At this point, we move on to the final column. So we're looking at for how many groups of 3 can we see in the ones. Well, with counters, we can highlight that we've got 4 groups of 3. Year 5 method, we're looking how many groups of 3 are there in 12 ones. Well, there are 4 groups of 3 in 12. So we have got 4 groups of 3. Both questions now, both methods, we've got 104. So 312 divided by 3 is 104. Just to make sure that there's no remainder, we can just check in the Year 4 method. We can see we've got no counters left over. So we're all done, got rid of all our counters. In the Year 5 method, we're now just going to do a final subtraction. 3 lots of 4 is 12. So 12 taken with 12 is nothing. We have no remainders. So we have got final answer, 312 divided by 3 gives us 104. That is the bridge between the Year 4, very pictorial, very representative, and the Year 5 method where we're using more abstract number to represent exactly the same thing, but both systems do the same.